Plant medicine is not an alternative way to heal, it's the original. My father told me, like screaming, "Tonight you're gonna break up." Whoa. Actually, I wanted to cry, but I wanted to hide my tears. It was very confusing and it changed something in me. I do this for the relationship with your father. Gave me so much pain, makes me curious. Almost failed at school, like I wanted to please him. And there I lost myself. So I decided to go abroad. I have to take responsibility over my life.
Welcome to the House of Oneness podcast, where we dig deep into the world of plant medicine to help you in your spiritual and personal growth. Our host of this podcast has traveled the world to learn from different shamans, maestros, and other spiritual leaders. She has many years of experience with plant medicine ceremonies. Here is your host, Maria Johanna.
Hello, my name is Maria Johanna, and if you know me, you probably know me from plant medicine. I've been working with ayahuasca for many years, and now I have my own plant medicine, Choco Bliss, which is very, very popular all around the globe, and also the microdosing truffles. And I feel like I come to a point that I like to share more than just the short Instagram stories. So I decided to grab the camera with my friend who's helping me and share more of my story on searching in life, of healing, because we all carry trauma, we all have a story to share, and with our stories we can also inspire others to come to realizations, to find answers. So in this video I like to start with my story, and I start from the very beginning, and I take you with me through my challenges, through my struggles, but also to the beautiful parts. And with this I like to spread the word of plant medicine, what it can do for you and what it has done to me. It's a lot. And I hope you like this story. Maybe you can share it with other people, because this old knowledge from the plant medicine, it has been disappeared, but now where we are now, it's also coming back. So for me, the plant medicine is not an alternative way to heal, it's the original, because we are part of nature. And when you are in these plant medicine ceremonies, and if you've done it, you recognize this, you know this, you find yourself, you come closer to yourself. So in society brings us further away from who we truly are, and this starts already from a very early age, because we need to be a certain way. And when you follow the school system, the education system, we can be like all equal, but it's all about your uniqueness, like what makes you unique, what's your passion, what's your talent, what's your mission, what's your purpose. And this was also where I was looking for in life. But let's start from the very beginning, and I start just from the moment where I'm born, where I grew up. And that's in a very small village in the Netherlands. It's called Zwaagdijk. I'm born in Hoorn on the 19th of February 1985, and I grew up with my parents in a very protective small village. It's called Zwaagdijk. And I have two sisters, an older one, a younger one, and I would say I had a very good childhood, very safe. And sometimes I even say about my childhood, it's almost as if I was Jasmine in the palace, growing up, not knowing what is playing outside the castle. Because all that I knew was honest people, trustworthy people, and I thought the world is a safe, beautiful place. But when I go on with my journey, I found out it's not the truth, it's not the reality. So childhood, it was good, and my parents gave me a lot of freedom. I wanted to go out when I was 13, and I had all the sisters, so we went together, go dancing. To me, school was not that important. I just did it, but I wasn't ambitious in that. I had no pressure. It was more about having fun. And in our lives, we all carry trauma. Everyone has trauma from their childhood. But I want to start with a trauma that I clearly remember and that was very shocking to me. And this is when I was 15 years old. And I think what happened there, it shaped my future. I was 15 years old. I fell in love for the first time, and it was very romantic to experience. And then suddenly, I was 15, he was 17. He wanted to pick me up at my house. And right before he came, my father told me, not in a polite way, but like screaming, "Tonight you're gonna break up." And I was in such a shock, like, whoa, because I had such a safe, protected, nice childhood with so much freedom. And this was the first time that my father was really clear, like, I don't agree with this and you're gonna break up. And I was frozen. Normally I'm very talkative, so he came to my house picking me up and I was just silence. And we drove to his house. I was at the back of the scooter and I was thinking, like, how can I bring this message? What to do? And actually I wanted to cry, but I wanted to hide my tears. And I was just in a shock. So then we arrived at his house, and of course he noticed that I was different than normal. But I felt so ashamed to tell the truth, so I didn't dare to. And I remember this clearly that he asked, like, what's wrong? And I was just like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this. But he went on asking, and then we went to his room and I said, yeah, we need to break up tonight. He was like, why? Like, did I do something wrong? What happened? Why? And I couldn't answer this question, but I was so ashamed of telling, like, why I had to break up, because it was not because of me. It was because of my father who wanted me to break up. And I couldn't really understand it. So it was hard for me to explain. And of course he kept on asking, like, please tell me, you can trust me, you can tell me everything. And I was like, oh, I feel so ashamed. So I started to cry and didn't dare to tell him why. But of course in the end I told him that I had to break up because of my father's will. But if there is love and if there's truth, it's very strong. So you cannot live a lie. And this has always been with me very, very strongly, that I cannot do something against my will. If I do, like, I'll lose myself. So also this period, like, because it was such a romantic, teenager love, we couldn't break up. So I tried, and I tried several times, and this led to a change inside of me, because I had a lot of conversations with my father why he thought I had to break up. And even when I tell this on camera, I still feel a little bit ashamed of telling, like, why he thought I had to break up, because it's not my opinion and I don't agree on that. And the reason why he thought I had to break up is because we were from a different culture. But from a very young age, I was always so curious about other cultures. I grew up in a village where everyone had blonde hair and blue eyes, and there was no diversity. But from the moment, like, even when I was like, I remember when I was just like maybe 3-4 years old, when someone had like brown eyes, dark hair or dark skin, I was always like, hey. And looking back, it makes sense, because what I do in my life is something from a different culture, from, yeah, different cultures. But going back to my story, because I didn't do what my father wanted me to do, I tried to break up several times, but because it was in a way forbidden, like the Romeo and Juliet story, it became even more romantic. And he showed up here and there, and it was like, wow. But my father also, he really wanted to control me in a way, out of love. But of course, when you're 15 years old, you have a whole different vision of the world. And it helped me a lot to discover my own thinking and feeling, and that it's all about feeling. Later on, my father, because he couldn't control me, he told me that he will take me out of his will. And when you're 15 years old and you're thinking like your father wants to take you out of your will, and I have 2 sisters, I thought like, okay, but then I'm not his daughter anymore, and my sisters are still his daughter. How is it gonna work? And I'm gonna live in the same house, but not officially not being his daughter anymore. It was very confusing and very emotional to me, and it also learned me a lot about friendships who were supporting me. I even had friends writing letters to my father, and I had conversations with my father, peaceful and in harmony, until late at night. And the next day I had to go to school, but it was conversations to try to understand each other. And before that, I was way more focused on my mother and not that much on my father. But to have all these deep conversations and sharing my vision and listening to his vision, we spoke so much, it changed something in me. And it took a while, and then there came a point that he broke up with me in a letter, because he didn't dare to do it into my face. And I can still see this as a movie, as if I look from above how it happened. Then I took the bus, and he handed over a letter in my pocket of my jacket, and he said, read this when you're home. But of course, like, I was so curious, I couldn't wait until I was home. So I was reading this letter where he is breaking up with me and explaining that he couldn't do it in my face, but he said, I'm breaking up with you, not because I want to, but I do this for you. I do this for the relationship with your father, and in time you will understand that I've done this for you, and really not because I feel like it. And that gave me so much pain, but not only because he was breaking up with me, but more because I felt so ashamed for my father. I was very angry that they did this to me in a way. And this event, also that my father wanted me to take me out of his will, and he was also saying like, if you go on, you also ruin the marriage of you and my mother, that kind of things. And I was so young, and I had such a different understanding about love, about life. It was my first experience with love. It shaped my future. One thing is also that I felt like I had to be a certain way in order to receive the love of my father. But it also, like looking back now, it shaped my love life. And to me, love life is very important in life. And I see all the relationships afterwards has been with someone from a different culture, because this makes me curious. This is in me, this is my nature. And I believe that you have to follow your curiosity and your nature and your feelings. And a relationship is not something from your head, a concept or a list, check, check, check. It's something, to me, that is just happening to you. And also the path that I've been walking in life, it's something I could never come up with. It's not a checklist that I wrote like, I want this to happen in my life. I know a lot of courses are like, manifest this in your life, manifest that in your life. My path is differently, and it's also what I learned in my plant medicine, that there is a path, there is a destiny, and this has been part of my destiny. And I guess every child wants to have some recognition from their parents. Like if you go to school and it's going well, you go to your parents and you share this. Or when you, for example, I've been writing a book also about my search. It's called Quarter Life Challenge. And when I finished my book, I called my parents like, hey, I finished my book. Or other things. This is in a child. This is also in our nature. But from that moment on, something in me was like, I have to be a certain way in order to receive love. And also the relationships that I had afterwards, I always had a boyfriend who was very jealous and who wanted to give me rules and who wanted me to be a certain way. And I tried to please my ex-partners, but I know it's impossible, because you cannot change a person. It's just you are who you are. And I'm a person who is about freedom, fun, connection. And you cannot ask a person to be like quiet if it's not, like if she's not or if he's not, or other things. And of course now I'm older, I can look differently, but because I felt so rejected at that point, rejection is a theme in my life. But I felt in a way different from the rest. So in my small village, I started to dream about making a new start somewhere else where I could be myself. Because in this small village, how I experienced myself, I don't know if it's really true for others, I was a bit quiet sometimes or shy, but I felt there's so much more in me. And what is my nature? I started to dream, not really knowing what my path would be. And if people ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I had no clue. Yeah. So actually, I was not very serious on my path. To me, life was about fun. But there came a point that I changed. I had several points in my life that it was in a way an awakening. And I go back to a moment, I was 18 years old. I was almost finishing school. Like I first did I don't know how this is called all in English, but I did secondary school. I finished this when I was, I don't know, when you're 15 or something. But then I did education. It's called commercial. It was a commercial education, and then I did a marketing education, and this was still in Hoorn. And I almost failed at school, and that was very important to me, because sometimes when you're about to fail, this is exactly a point where you turn around. So I was about to be a failure at school because I wasn't serious with life. I was just like, for me, life was about going out. Like I like to, be a bit with fashion and men, boys. But then I was in a relationship, and I was in a relationship with a guy who was also very, very jealous. And because of that, like I wanted to please him, and there I lost myself. So I was not that spontaneous girl that is my nature. And I couldn't understand it, but I knew that this is not making me happy. And he was always so afraid of losing me And many times when you're afraid of something, this is exactly what happened. What happens? I remember my sister went on ski holiday. We always went on ski holiday, mostly also with my parents, with other parents, with friends, like a mix of people with different ages. It was always so much fun. But because he was so jealous, I thought, I'm just gonna stay home because I don't wanna, it costs too much energy to have these fights. But my sister and my friends, they went on ski holiday. And when they were on holiday, my sister met a guy and she said, "Oh, you should meet my sister. You would be like such a good match." So we started calling and it was nice. And the boyfriend that I had back then, he was a football player and he had to play out in another country. They came back from the ski holiday and my sister took him to our house to stay over. And I remember like, oh shit. Like, in a way I fell in love with the other guy. So exactly where my boyfriend was afraid of, it happened. And that also opened my eyes. So sometimes you need that to open your eyes for more. And I thought, oh my God, with him I'm so myself, with laughter, fun, and this is how it should be. So he was a wake-up call. I didn't realize it so consciously, but actually I was all the time having contact with him and like such a positive vibe and dreaming about him. And then I thought, wait, I cannot dream about another guy when I'm in a relationship. And at the same time, I also almost didn't get my education. So I would fail in school and like without education. And I thought like, okay, I was walking and realizing I cannot think about the other guy all the time. And the other thing is like, I cannot fail at school because what will I be in my life then? So there, I thought I need to make some changes. And in that period, in one day, I made several decisions. So one thing is, let's do my best at school. The first thing actually that I realized is, let's break up and free myself. Then I said, let's do an internship abroad, because actually what I was failing on English. Languages are my weak point. So I decided to go abroad to do an internship and to speak English a bit better. I also thought, let's do another education after this, and then also move to Amsterdam. So I made all these decisions at one point. It came in, and I followed up on that, and following up on this inner voice and this inner guidance, I felt so strong, and I felt like a power awakening inside myself. And this is when you follow up on this inner guidance, when you say no longer this suffering, and also like I have to take responsibility over my life, because nobody will come and bring it towards me. It's like it's my own responsibility to be happy. And all these decisions brought me so much joy. And this is, you feel it like immediately when you make this change, like, wow. Yes, I look back with a big smile, clearly. Let me experience the freedom. Let's take life more seriously. Life was very much about having fun. Pass all the exams and then just have fun. Who am I and what makes me happy? To be a fat man with whiskey and a cigar. I felt so unhappy, crying at my bike. Like, why can I not do this? My energy was like, boom. Now everything is possible again. And I decided to travel on my own and I want to help people. I want to give the energy. I'm gonna write this book. The first time I spoke on stage, they gave me flowers, cried for hours. I found my purpose. Publishing my book. I don't want you to change people's lives. I was living my dream. Now ex-boyfriend started to talk about ayahuasca. Something opened up inside myself. Curiosity.
Thanks for listening. Check out our website, houseofoneness.com, for more information about plant medicine, microdosing, and ceremonies. Or find Maria Johanna at Instagram. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, keep following that inner voice.